So today's video will be about some weird experiences I had during my first 2 months of my second Abramelin. I hadn't planned to do Abramelin. I had just finished or were finishing the Enochian magic, going through all the 7 planets there and doing a real dedication to God. So I did the whole thing with fasting for 9 days, focusing on the angel I was going to evoke and the heptarchia really once more in my life. And I finished on Sunday. And Uriel came to me on Sunday and told me that on Easter Monday, the next day, I should start the Abramelin, and this time with Christ. And I freaked out. I couldn't sleep. And since I had been fasting since December the 6th, already doing the book of supplication once more and writing it, and then the heptarchia and fasting and so on, so I was exhausted. But okay, I felt that it was the time, and as usual, I said to Uriel, no, I'm not going to do it. And 5 seconds later, I say, I guess I am. That's been the story of my life. I'm not one of those who say that I'm in power and command the angels, but it is rather the other way around, that they tell me that this is something that's come from the higher courts that they want you to do. So I started. And my first prayer, it was filled with fear. When you feel so unworthy of Christ, and I haven't prayed to him since I was a teenager, and I know so many people who use his name in vain and use him for slandering others, putting others down, that kind of thing that doesn't even resonate with who he is, in my mind at least. For me, he's always been so powerful, so high up, that I felt too low to even start addressing him. So others fear facing the devil, I feared facing Christ. And so the first 2 months of praying were a disaster. I prayed and I had the timers on, and I prayed at least 1 hour every morning and every night. And then I studied the Bible for 6 hours. I didn't have TV, radio, didn't gossip, didn't go anywhere, were isolated, and just focusing on the Abramelin and trying to learn to pray. And then I had the problem with that, since I was oath-bound to God already since the 70s, to work with the angels every day in order to serve God. So I had that tricky thing, since the book said that you are not supposed to do anything, and yet my heart told me that no, I made this promise. I call on the Shem every day to help the neighborhood and people around the world. Same with the Enochian. So the Abramelin became my own ritual, and the ritual was praying at least the exact amount of time that the Abramelin book says, but then that during night time after sunset I did all the other magic, or before sunrise. And I don't know, I still suffer. I don't know, suffer is not the right word, but I still wake up during night times doing full prayer rituals in the Abramelin. I wake myself up and I'm doing it in front of the altar. And after 2 weeks, I started suffering from severe nosebleeds, horrific nosebleeds. I looked like a walrus during my rituals. I had toilet paper stuffed up in my nose. And sometimes I had to lay down on my back in front of the altar since the nosebleeds were so bad and I didn't want to have any blood on the altar. And my little beloved cat Prince was with me during every prayer. So in a way I think that he is the only cat in history who has completed the Abramelin together. So he and I were together in this. And I started to have these weird dreams. This is the first 2 months since the dream changed and everything. That I could see something horrific crimes happening. And I was in that murderer's body, seeing what they saw, feeling what they felt, smelling what they could smell. And it was horrific. I woke up disgusted and had to throw up. In the morning it was really bad. And there is no banishing allowed and nothing, so I couldn't banish the demons who sent me these. And then I had another dream where I actually got the names of the people who had been killed. And so on. That's why I'm going to the library with the internet, since you have to log in on your official account. And I can't do it with this phone since my laptop is can't connect to this SIM card, so I have to have Ethernet cable to unlock that. And to trying to find out if they were real or if they were just demons sending them to me. But I suddenly felt how horrible it must be for those psychics who work that see the crimes happening in real life, since I had to experience it now. And then there also started to become changes within me. So instead of trying to pray, I started to need to pray. So I started to waking up even earlier, often 2-3 hours before sunrise, longing to pray. And I still don't know why, but it started to, there is so much I haven't gotten yet. But I know that something changed within, and suddenly prayer isn't something I do. And I used to repeat the Psalms, recite the Psalms, and repeat John Dee's prayers exactly word by word. And suddenly I don't recite the Psalms, or I just pray right from my heart. So there's been so many changes that I can't explain, since I don't understand them myself either. And then the psychic attacks during night. There were a lot of attacks, but this time I didn't even have to think about the angels calling upon them during these attacks. Uriel came with such a speed that they removed before I even, so they were so protective of me, since they wanted me to connect to Christ. And weird experience more. I suffered multiple times of a very weird pain. It was like my all nervous systems were aflame, afire. And I was burning up. Having a sheet over my body hurt. And it could last for 3 days, constant burning fire feeling throughout my whole body. So I guess that was some kind of, something is happening in my body and they are adjusting it spiritually, but I don't know what. And then I also suddenly remember that every time when a demon approaches me, I feel pain in my liver and my kidneys. And I think that might be personal for me just as well, but that's how I sensed. And since I don't want to feel that, and it's horrific pain, I had many kidney stones and so on, and it's pain. and I've been kicked in the liver, so that's pain too. And so that is something I don't want to think about, but I remembered it clearly that sometimes, for me, it comes in the lower back, that they try to enter in that way. And I guess that others can feel it in their crown or in their feet, depending, and so on. But this is my first story about the Abramelin ritual, and there will be so much light coming in soon as well. But since I haven't figured everything out, and I probably won't do for the next 7 years. It took me 7 years to become myself the last time I did my first Abramelin. So I know that things are changing, and it is just like I don't write down the rituals I do with the angels. I look at their names and then I just open my mouth and feel it in my heart what I should say. So there is no plan from me anymore. My controlling old Maggie, who wanted to have everything done right on the second and the right time and the planet hours, she is gone. She is no longer here. With Christ around, telling the angels to help me, and he knows that I'm just like a newborn right now. I have to learn everything to work with Christ and in his honor as well. And something he told me in a dream, that I did right studying the Old Testament so hard, but I've forgotten one thing, that the laws in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, they apply as spiritual laws as well, not only in the world. So how does a moldy house fit in with your spiritual path, or having leprosy in a spiritual way? And there are so many questions I would like to hear your opinions about, since I'm still learning, but there is one thing that was so important. This is my Abramelin diary, and it's full written. Is that in order for prayer to lift, you need the divine love, and the divine love is between God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit, the upward triangle. And to draw it down, we need love, hope, and faith, and that builds the hexagram. And that is something that came to be a part. All this is filled with peace, hope, love, faith, forgiveness, mercy, compassion. And I never write, and this is full. And so there is so much that has changed, and the angels' approach have changed. Since the covenant changed from Melchizedek's first with Abraham, then to Moses, the second covenant, or many things Moses is the first. Then we come to Solomonic times, when we have the building of the temple. But then we have the fourth covenant with Christ. And so I guess that I developed through the covenants throughout my life, since I felt so comfortable with Melchizedek my whole life. But he was the first covenant, and then I stayed in the Judaic covenants, and now stepping out into the fourth covenant. That is quite different, where everything is more relaxed, and where you just ask. It isn't that ritualistic that you have to do offerings or anything anymore, but now it's the offering of love, devotion, and so on. So that is all I can say for now. But I will try to reread this. And I scribbled, and there have been bomb detonations in my next door building. A car exploded into my building, so I fell out of bed. And there's been, and then I was hit when I was walking here in my own, I was walking down the stairs, and my neighbor was beating his wife, and I got in the middle and got hit. And there's been so much going on in the world. And then, of course, on Easter Monday, the Paludan started, the Quran burnings. And that is something I really hate. You have no right to burn any Bibles, any holy books from any faith. And but at the same time I took it as I start my Abramelin and the Quran burning start in Sweden. Finland, they put you in jail if you burn a Quran. But in Sweden, you are allowed to burn the Quran, and I don't agree. And so the timing's been really tough this time. But I'm trying to reread it and then keep on going, telling about my Abramelin experiences. And this is the intro, a very confused intro, since I can tell of what the things I've understood. But don't be surprised if my understanding will change throughout the time being, since I constantly learn, and it feels like I know that something is happening, but I don't know what. But stay tuned and have a magical, magical day. Bye for now.